We'll go ahead and get started this morning. And good morning to everyone. On behalf of the Governor of South Dakota, the Department of Agriculture, welcome to the 8th Annual Governor's Agricultural Summit. My name is Craig Schoeneman, and I will be navigating us through the day. Today's program was thoughtfully constructed to generate dialogue among South Dakota's farmers and ranchers, business and industry partners, and the decision makers who collectively shape the policies and processes that impact our agricultural industry. Agriculture generates a significant part of the economic activity in the state, and so it is important that we take some time every year to gather and discuss ways that we can continue to promote and preserve this important driver in our state. I want to start the day by giving a special thanks to the summit sponsors for their support. Because of their generosity, we are able to present this conference without cost to you. This sponsorship reflects the substantial value these businesses and organizations place on the relationships and strategic discussions that grow during the Governor's Agricultural Summit. Please join me in thanking each of our sponsors for their generosity. Before we kick off the day, I have a few housekeeping announcements. We have left time after each of the presentations from our panelists for questions. One of the true benefits of this conference is the robust conversations we are able to have with the panelists and each other. We do have mics available when we get into the question and answer portion. Danny, do you want me to stop because you're not rolling, or keep rolling? Okay, because we are behind schedule. I'm not real good at taking orders, but Danny's and Jody are going to keep me in line today. So, if you have a question, I ask that you wait for a mic to come to you so everyone can hear the questions and we're able to answer it. Also, as you can see, our slides. That's a joke, Danny. Slides. Working on it? We'll keep going because we are a little bit behind schedule and try to pick it up here. We will be active on social media today. If you are posting, we'd ask that you hashtag South Dakota Ag Summit for those of us that are joining us on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Please send your questions to us via the Department of Ag's social media accounts shown here. As we begin this morning, we're going to jump right in and hear from our Secretary of Agriculture. Secretary Mike Jaspers has served as our Secretary of Agriculture for just over a year. Along with his service to our state, Mike owns and operates a corn, soybean, and alfalfa cattle operation in Hutchinson, McCook, and Marshall counties. Mike also spent 7 years in ag retail management and served as a state legislator from 1997 to 2004. He was then appointed state director of the USDA Rural Development Office in South Dakota from 2007 to 2008. Mike graduated from Roslyn High School and holds a Bachelor of Science degree in mechanized ag from South Dakota State University. He served as president of South Dakota Future Farmers of America and is a graduate of South Dakota Agricultural Rural Leadership Program. Mike and his wife Robin live near Sioux Falls with their children Ellie and Alex. Without further ado, I invite Secretary Jaspers to the podium.
Thank you, Craig, and good morning. Thank you all for being here today and helping us make the Governor's Ag Summit successful. I'm excited about the program we have in store for you, and I'll be even more excited if we get the technical glitches out of the way, but we'll work through that. It's great to be here in Aberdeen, obviously very timely with the challenges that we were faced with this growing season, to be up here and to have those sideline discussions as well too. But again, thank you all for coming here. I think we have a great conference, and we're very happy to be here. Like Craig had mentioned, this wouldn't be possible without the super sponsors that we have that make this event possible. And so please help me in thanking them individually at Bank West, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, Farm Credit Services of America, First Dakota National Bank, Monsanto, the Rapid City Pier and Eastern Railroad, Sanford Health, and the South Dakota ethanol producers. Thank you, all of you sponsors. Please help me give them a round of applause. You know, as Craig mentioned, it's just over a year since I took over as the role of Secretary of Agriculture, and it's truly been my honor to serve in this position. Since I started, I've in discussions with our staff, I've encouraged them, and I've encouraged producers that I talk with, in the industry overall, to think about sustainability. You know, we hear a lot of the word sustainability quite often, and a lot of us probably the first thing that we think about is soil health and taking care of the land. And I can still remember what field I was in, what old farm grain truck I was in when I had that conversation with my grandfather, or rather my grandfather had that with me, talking about how, you know, when we really think about things, we're here to take care of the land and leave it in a better state than we found it. And you know, that's really our role as good land stewards and producers. And truly all of us as producers look at that way. But sustainability is much more than just soil health and taking care of the land. I think that portion is very important, and it's kind of the basis of sustainability. But sustainability is also much more than that. Sustainability to me is making the decisions and taking care of what we have, not just the soil, and having that ready for the next generation. And that's a lot of some of the talks that you'll hear later on today in some of our panels is what are we all doing in our operations, in our businesses, in our farming operations, our ranching operations, our other related businesses. What are we doing to take care of those businesses, to make them sustainable, to have them looking forward to the future, and have them ready for the next generation? Over the past year, the legislature also did some sustainable things and really took on a couple of issues that I feel will have an impact on our industry and the future sustainability of the ag industry and the state as a whole. One of those is with the ADRDL lab, or the Animal Disease Research and Diagnostic Lab. And that has to do a lot with protecting our industry from disease threats and ensuring that our state remains solid and prepared to prevent and, if necessary, to diagnose and treat animal diseases. This issue is a growing concern across the country, and we'll hear more about that in our first panel of the day. Are we up? Going? All right, we'll catch up through the slides here. Thank you again, all of you sponsors. Well, I'm clicking around with that. Well, good news for the next presenter. We're up and running here with technology. Anyway, during the legislative session this winter, the legislature passed a series of bills that made possible the future renovation and expansion of the Animal Disease Research and Diagnostic Lab in Brookings. The facility, for those of you that don't know, is located on the grounds of South Dakota State University, and it serves as our state's animal health laboratory. The staff at the ADRDL, as we like to call it, develops and conducts tests to identify animal diseases and develops treatments for sick animals to assist veterinarians, producers, pet owners, wildlife managers, and public health officials. So it really helps out a lot more than just strictly the ag industry, really the entire state. One example of this, or a couple examples, the staff at the ADRDL were very critical in diagnosing poultry during the highly pathogenic avian influenza outbreak a few years ago, not only for our producers for the livestock, the birds within South Dakota, but also our neighboring states as well. We were also very instrumental in diagnosing the cattle that were found with tuberculosis in the northwestern part of our state this past spring. The ADRDL lab was originally built in 1967 and was last remodeled in 1993. And since then, the demand for the lab has grown and the infrastructure of the lab has become outdated. An update and expansion are desperately needed to ensure that South Dakota is able to address future animal disease issues and to ensure that we have continue to ensure that we have a safe food supply in the future, as well as protecting the staff as they work through some of these disease issues and samples as they deal with them coming through too. So very pleased to have the legislation in place that has put the funding in place to do the expansion, and I believe the groundbreaking is August 31st, at the end of August anyway, whatever that Saturday is, the end of August in Brookings, and be very excited to be a part of that and to see that project get started and moving forward again. So thanks to everyone in this room and across the state who have helped and worked tirelessly to get that project across the finish line. You know, having that state-of-the-art lab in South Dakota here in the coming years will ensure that the ag industry has the tools it needs to grow and to continue to flourish into the future. Another project, major challenge that the legislature took on this last year is that in the issue of non-meandered waters. And again, I think something that's really going to help us get moving in the right direction into the future. You know, growing up in northeast South Dakota, just about 70 miles northeast of here, I've witnessed the struggle over the non-meandered water issue firsthand. You know, over the past 20 years, I've looked at it from the viewpoint of a landowner, from a legislator standpoint, and now as a Secretary of Agriculture. And while there's definitely passionate disagreement on how to resolve this issue, everyone agreed that this was an issue that had been left unresolved for much too long. And I'm thankful that our state legislators answered the call to address this issue, begin addressing this issue, and what they did through the special session earlier this summer, and worked hard to come up with a compromise solution that will truly help move everyone in the right direction and move forward in a sustainable manner. I believe, though, that as an ag industry, it will be important for all of us to stay engaged in this issue over the coming months and years, as the legislature will be considering this issue again during the regular 2018 session. Now, one thing that I don't need to tell all of you is that this past year hasn't been all rainbows and roses, and depressed markets on both the livestock and crop side, coupled with the obvious drought conditions over most of the state this year, have made for a very tough year for producers in South Dakota. While we'll have a panel later today that will provide us more information on the markets, I want to share with you a few statistics that the Department of Ag uses to track the health of the ag economy in the state. The Department of Ag manages an ag loan mediation program, and from years 2014 to 2016, we saw an increase in mediation requests through our department of over 170% increase. While continued depressed prices and significant drought across most of the state are current situations, we fully expect that trend, most likely of increased mediation requests, to continue throughout 2017. Here again, obviously no surprise, but when you see it on a graph, it definitely shows the picture of what we're facing in South Dakota and what our producers are facing. Speaking of the drought, I want to give you a quick update on where we're at for drought conditions. The most recent drought monitor was just published this morning, and this shows that really over 90% of our state is experiencing dry or drought conditions. And D3, or extreme drought, shown in the red area, has continued to grow across the state and has grown quite a bit from last Thursday's update to this today's update. Producers living within counties experiencing D3 drought conditions are eligible for access to certain federal programs, such as the Livestock Forage Program and the Emergency Livestock Assistance Program. For more information on those and other programs that are currently available, producers can and should reach out to their local FSA offices to discuss the specifics of those. I was pleased to see that although we have the widespread drought conditions across the state, I was pleased to see that the action by the USDA from Washington, D.C. in helping it to increase the flexibility on the use of CRP acres so that additional pasturing could be opened up and feed could be utilized. Currently, all CRP acres in the state are open up for emergency grazing, and some CRP acres will be opening up for emergency haying as well, starting this coming week. The USDA has reinstated also the option for producers to donate hay from the CRP acres through the midterm management program, which has been utilized. And thanks to our former FSA State Director, Craig Schoeneman, for really being instrumental with that program in years past as well. But the thing that I want to stress and reiterate, though, is before beginning any practices utilizing emergency grazing or haying on CRP acres, that landowners and operators really need to contact their local FSA offices to ensure continued eligibility and utilization of the program. Many producers that I've talked to and that our staff have talked to over the past weeks sometimes have felt that the drought monitor doesn't truly reflect the severity of the drought that they are experiencing in their area on their farm or ranch. And if you feel this way, or you have family, friends, or neighbors that feel this way, there's a process whereby producers can submit reports for those who put the drought monitor together. On the screen here, we've pulled a screenshot of the website where those reports can be submitted with the web address on the top. A tool such as the drought monitor can only be as accurate as the information utilized to create them. And I would encourage anyone who is experiencing drought conditions to take some time to submit a report to the drought monitor. You know, whether we're faced with down markets or widespread drought, it's important for me as a producer to think big picture about how the decisions that I make today will impact my business and my family in the years to come. And part of that decision making really happens in the moment for all of us, but a big part of it can be planned for as well. I strongly encourage everyone, whether you're a producer or not, to take the time to plan for the future of your operation and your business. Our panel right after lunch will hopefully provide you some more tools and information and ideas to help you do just that. One of the ways that the Department of Ag works to assist in creating a more sustainable future for the ag industry in South Dakota is by working with individuals and companies in our industry to promote the development and expansion of operations and ag-related businesses. The Ag Development Division within the Department of Ag both has financing programs that producers and businesses can access, and we have individual representatives that can help provide guidance for those folks interested in looking into those. At the department, we've been especially focused within ag development, focused on projects that add value to crops and livestock that we currently grow and raise, to do more processing with them. Just during the month of June of this year, there were several announcements of new or expanded projects within South Dakota that alone, just during the month of June, those projects amounted to announcements of over $250 million of investment in ag production in the state of South Dakota. One such project in this area is the announced expansion of Valley Queen Cheese in Millbank. They've announced a $50 million expansion that will bring 25 additional full-time jobs at their facility and provide a larger market for our growing dairy industry that is currently facing challenges to find a place to take their milk for processing. So knowing that despite we have drought and down markets, we have a lot of great things happening in our industry in South Dakota, we also wanted to put together a panel for you today that would showcase just a few companies who are bringing very innovative tools or value-added opportunities to the producers here and around the world. And I'm definitely looking forward to that panel as well. Well, it's early in the day yet, but looking ahead to next year, before I close, I wanted to announce that next year's Governor's Ag Summit will be held on July 11th and 12th and we'll be in Rapid City. So we're looking forward to going west. Please mark it on your calendars. We'll look forward to having another great event next year as well. I'm really excited for the rest of our program today, and really excited that our technology is now working. And we have a great lineup of speakers that I tried to highlight a few of the thoughts on and what we're ready to share with you. And we have a lot of, covering a lot of the hot topics within our industry today, from health animal issues to succession planning to innovation and future thoughts. So thank you all for your time. I know that it's taking time out of your work schedules, your busy days as well, but I appreciate the time that you've taken to come and learn with us today. And thanks so much for being here, and enjoy the rest of the day.